course. I mean, we're always looking to improve and make things, better. I mean, practice make perfect. I feel very good about the performance that we did tonight.
For years, fans have argued about a rumor connected to Damian Marley, and he has never publicly confirmed or denied it. At 47 years old, he has finally spoken on it, and the reaction is already intense. What he said is not what many expected, and it has reshaped everything. Damian Marley's legacy and why people care. Damian has always been the quiet storm in the Marley legacy. From the moment he stepped into music, people could sense that he was not interested in celebrity games. He was focused on craft and message. That made him different from many artists who aim for constant spotlight. Even fans who only know the Marley name from mainstream radio understand that Damian carries a presence that is more spiritual and private. That mystery is a major reason people have paid attention to his silence for so many years. His impact reached beyond reggae fans. Damian crossed into global music conversations when he released chart-breaking songs that still play across festivals around the world. The success was undeniable. He won major awards. He sold out arenas. Yet he rarely spoke about himself. Interviews with him were brief. He would talk about music and social issues, but never indulge in gossip or personal drama. That choice built respect, but it also created a vacuum. When a public figure refuses to feed constant interviews, people begin to write their own stories about him. That attention only grew stronger with time. Part of the intrigue comes from the weight of his last name. The Marley family carries history, cultural power, activism, and myth. People expect access. People expect intimate insight. Damian never followed that path. He did not live online. He did not chase attention. He kept his circle small. He let the music be the face. That is why when a rumor appeared, people held on to it for years. The rumor filled the space that he never filled himself. It followed him through every performance tour and feature. It sparked endless comments among fans who could not accept that a famous artist could live without constantly explaining himself. Damian represents a rare image in modern music, an artist who cares about impact more than spotlight. He has always moved like a craftsman, slow, intentional, focused. That can confuse people who grew up in a time where every celebrity moment is shared instantly. In an age of constant oversharing, silence becomes suspicious. Listeners start to think there must be something hidden. They begin to search for proof. They replay interviews, they study body language, they build entire theories on things he never actually said. That is how the rumor gained oxygen. It was not because Damian confirmed anything. It was because Damian never rushed to deny anything either. The longer the silence continued, the more the speculation evolved. Fans debated it in online forums. Reggae historians tried to trace its origin. Some insisted it was pure invention by outsiders. Others swore insiders had hinted at it during private conversations that were never recorded. It became a myth that people treated like secret knowledge, almost like a forbidden story that lived in the shadows of his career. That is why the public cares so much today. When a private person finally speaks, people listen. They see it as a rare window into a guarded life. Damian at 47 has now decided to speak on the rumor directly. He has nothing left to prove. His career is respected. His fan base is loyal. His legacy is secure. That freedom has given him the space to address what many have been waiting to hear for decades. Fans and critics are now revisiting old interviews to understand what they may have missed and how the origin of the rumor. From the start, Damian carried a different energy than the usual second-generation star. He was not hungry for media attention, and he never tried to prove himself through shock value. That silence became the soil where the rumor first began to grow. People assumed that if he was not explaining himself, then something deeper must be going on. This did not begin with a public statement or a scandal. It began with curiosity, quiet speculation rather than loud gossip. It started in the early 2000s, when Damian was rising globally after Welcome to Jamrock became a worldwide anthem. Fans across different continents started to ask questions about who he really was outside of the music and why he refused to answer certain topics. The rumor did not start in a major publication. It was whispered in online forums and backstage environments where music insiders and hardcore reggae fans shared unfiltered thoughts. These were the days when discussion boards and fan chat rooms were the main hub of speculation. People created theories based on silence. The lack of social media interviews at the time allowed people to fill the blanks with whatever made sense to them. Some insisted they heard it from someone close to him. Others claimed older Marleys had hinted at it without naming him directly. The more elusive he became, the more creative the theories grew. There was also a cultural factor to how this started. Damian did not feed tabloids. He did not attend flashy celebrity events or talk show circuits. That absence was interpreted not as privacy, but as avoidance. In celebrity culture, silence often gets misread as confirmation. His spiritual image and serious tone made people wonder what he was keeping off record. The rumor never took the form of a clear headline. It was a question that lived between lines. People repeated it like folklore. It passed from one era of fans to the next. Every year, a new generation would hear it and ask if it was true. The real turning point was when the rumor began to appear in comment sections under his music videos. Listeners from different countries would bring it up casually as if it were common knowledge. Many fans were confused because they had never heard about it before. Others claimed it was always obvious. It developed this strange universal familiarity without ever being officially addressed. Damian never responded, which made people believe there must be a reason for that. Silence can be more powerful than denial. Some insisted it was respect for family. Others believed it was personal strategy. Nobody actually knew. Journalists began noticing the whisper effect years later. They could sense the question hovering in the background during interviews, but very few were bold enough to ask directly. There was a professional respect around the Marley family. People did not want to violate that boundary. That respect further protected the rumor because it kept it alive without exposing it. It lived in the cultural background, like hidden code. No one could confirm it yet. No one fully dismissed it either. This is exactly what made it so persistent. It was never a scandal. It was a shadow, a silent myth that moved with him. It became part of his legend before he ever said a word. The specific claim people have been whispering about for years. For decades, fans and critics have speculated about a very specific claim surrounding Damian. It is not a scandal in the traditional sense. It is a question about his personal choices and how they may have affected his music career. People whispered that Damian deliberately avoided certain opportunities to protect his privacy, or that he had a hidden personal life that influenced the decisions he made as an artist. The rumor grew because it seemed plausible. Damian has always been private and highly selective about the projects he takes on. That level of discretion is rare in modern celebrity culture. The claim that circulated most widely focused on his relationships and family life. Some believed he had a secret romance or commitment that he never discussed publicly. Others speculated about children or responsibilities outside the public eye. These theories were never verified, and Damian never gave any public statements that confirmed them. The lack of confirmation allowed the rumor to continue for years. Every album, tour, or media appearance seemed to feed speculation in one way or another, even unintentionally. Fans would analyze interviews line by line, searching for hidden meaning, looking for a moment when he might slip up or reveal something inadvertently. It is important to note that the rumor was rarely malicious. Most of it originated from curiosity rather than negative intent. Hardcore reggae fans wanted to understand the man behind the music. They admired his talent and his dedication to craft, and the mystery around his private life only amplified his mystique. Damian was seen as a disciplined artist who was deeply committed to his work. That level of focus often gets misread by the public as secrecy or avoidance. When someone refuses to play into gossip culture, it can be interpreted as having something to hide, even if that is not the case. Another factor that allows the rumor to persist was the timing. Damian's rise coincided with the explosion of internet forums and music blogs where fans could speculate freely. Social media did not yet exist in its current form, so discussions were slower and stories circulated in fits and starts. That created a sense of discovery and exclusivity. People would feel like they were part of an inner circle by discussing these theories. Each new fan entering the conversation added layers to the rumor. The longer it remained unconfirmed, the more it became part of Damian's public narrative, even if it had no basis in fact. Music insiders also contributed to the persistence of the claim. Some journalists would hint at it in interviews, asking questions that barely touched on the subject, hoping for a subtle reaction. Producers and collaborators might reference it in casual conversation, knowing that Damian would not respond publicly. That unspoken acknowledgement helped keep the rumor alive. It was a strange combination of silence and suggestion. Damian's career continued to thrive despite it, but the question lingered. It followed him through performances, features, and award shows, always in the background, shaping public perception quietly. The specific claim became so widespread that it was almost impossible to separate fact from fiction. Every fan or commentator added their own interpretation. Over time, it became more like folklore than a verifiable story. Even today, when Damian addresses the topic, people want to know exactly what is true and what is speculation. The persistence of the rumor demonstrates the power of narrative in shaping a public figure's reputation. Damian's choice to remain private for decades created space for curiosity and debate that still resonates. Damian's career moves that accidentally fed the speculation. Damian has always taken a deliberate approach to his career. He is not the kind of artist to chase headlines or constantly appear in the media. His choices, while smart for his creative vision, often gave fans and critics room to speculate. For example, the long gaps between album releases created an air of mystery. Fans would wait years between projects, wondering what he was doing and why he was staying out of the spotlight. That silence was interpreted in multiple ways. Some assumed he was avoiding certain pressures in the industry. Others believed he was focusing on personal matters that he did not want to share publicly. In reality, Damian was simply taking the time to craft music that met his high standards. His selective collaborations also contributed to speculation. Damian works with artists he respects and projects that align with his vision. That means he turns down opportunities that might seem lucrative or highly publicized. Fans noticed and sometimes misread those decisions. When Damian declined interviews or major collaborations, it was taken as evidence of a hidden agenda or secret life. Each decision, perfectly reasonable from an artistic standpoint, became a talking point. People filled in the blanks with stories and theories that were often far from reality. Touring patterns added another layer. Damian performs internationally, but not as frequently as some of his contemporaries. When he did tour, it was often to select venues or festivals, focusing on locations where his music resonated deeply. That created the perception that he was distant or avoiding public scrutiny. Every break between tours seemed significant to fans tracking his career. They speculated that there must be a reason he was absent for months at a time. Again, the explanation was simple. Damian values quality experiences and meaningful connections over sheer volume or constant exposure. Even the content of his music contributed unintentionally. Damian's lyrics often focus on social issues, personal growth, and spirituality. That depth created a perception that he was more serious and private than other artists. Fans interpreted that as a sign that he was hiding something from the public. When you combine deep, reflective music with an artist who does not constantly explain themselves, speculation is inevitable. The narrative of mystery simply grows organically. Finally, Damian's minimal presence in mainstream media amplified everything. He avoids gossip magazines, flashy interviews, and unnecessary controversies. In today's culture, where celebrities are expected to be everywhere at all times, his absence was noticed. People assumed that absence meant there was more than meets the eye. They began to connect the dots themselves, creating narratives that were more rumor than fact. Damian never corrected these assumptions publicly, which only fueled interest. These career choices reflect his integrity and commitment to his artistry. Damian prioritizes music over spectacle, substance over gossip. But every deliberate decision, from selective touring to careful collaboration, unintentionally created the perfect environment for speculation to thrive. What he did not say was often interpreted louder than anything he could have confirmed. Over time, that speculation became intertwined with his public persona. Industry reactions and what insiders have quietly said. Inside the music industry, Damian has always been respected for his talent and professionalism. Fellow artists rarely criticized him publicly. Producers, collaborators, and executives often speak of him with admiration, describing him as disciplined, thoughtful, and deeply committed to his craft. That respect also created a form of protective silence. People noticed the rumor swirling around Damian, but few wanted to validate it by repeating it publicly. In an industry that thrives on gossip, that kind of discretion is unusual, and it allowed the rumor to persist in whispers rather than headlines. Journalists who have covered Damian describe the challenge of reporting on him. Many have approached him over the years hoping for insight, They know that Damian chooses his words carefully and rarely shares personal details. During interviews, he might smile or give a vague response. That politeness has often been interpreted as a subtle acknowledgement. Reporters have commented that covering Damian requires patience and respect. If they push too hard, they get nothing. That restraint made it clear that the rumor was more of a shadow than a confirmed story. Fellow artists often tiptoe around topics related to Damian's private life. Collaborators acknowledge his focus on music and social issues. They respect his boundaries and rarely speculate in public. Some insiders have admitted in private conversations that they were curious about the rumor. They would mention it lightly, almost jokingly, in studio sessions or backstage settings. That sort of discussion spreads organically and contributes to the mystery. The rumor gains traction not from scandal, but from quiet acknowledgement by people in his immediate professional circle. Industry reactions have also highlighted Damian's consistency and work ethic. Despite speculation and ongoing curiosity about his private life, he continues to release music that earns critical acclaim. He collaborates selectively, chooses meaningful projects, and maintains control over his brand. Executives respect that he never compromises quality for publicity. Ironically, that professional integrity, while admirable, has fueled curiosity. People notice the careful decisions and interpret them as intentional secrecy. The rumor persists because the public lacks access to his full story. In addition, some insiders note that Damian's rarity in public appearances contributes to fascination. Every award show, interview, or festival appearance becomes a significant event because it does not happen often. Fans watch closely for signs or statements, reading into gestures, words, or pauses. Even a minor comment from him can spread widely and be interpreted as confirmation or denial. Industry professionals understand this dynamic. They see how Damian's approach to publicity, combined with his talent, amplifies the attention on rumors without him needing to participate. Ultimately, Damian's silence and professionalism have shaped how the industry reacts. He does not respond to gossip, he does not compete for attention, and he allows his music to speak for itself. That creates an environment where curiosity thrives and rumors linger. What insiders say privately versus publicly shows that Damian is respected, admired, and intentionally private. The combination of reverence and speculation has cemented the rumor as part of the conversation around his career, even though he has never confirmed it until now. How the rumor impacted his public image and opportunities. The long-running rumor about Damian quietly shaped the way people perceived him. Fans often approached him with curiosity, and casual listeners sometimes judged him based on incomplete information. While Damian's music earned praise worldwide, the rumor created an unspoken cloud that lingered around his public image. For some people, it added mystique, making him seem even more intriguing. For others, it raised questions that had no answers. That duality has affected how opportunities and recognition unfolded throughout his career. In terms of media coverage, the rumor meant that journalists were careful in framing stories about him. Outlets often focused on his music and collaborations, but avoided discussing personal matters directly. That cautious approach limited some potential exposure. While Damian's work reached global audiences, certain mainstream platforms hesitated to feature him prominently, fearing controversy or unverified claims. This unintended consequence is part of why his public profile remained lower than his talent might suggest. People admired his music, but lacked a full understanding of the person behind it. The rumor also affected fan engagement. Social media and discussion forums often centered more on speculation than his artistic contributions. Every new release or live performance became a chance for commentary, not only about the music, but about the rumor. Fans would debate intentions, motivations, and hidden aspects of his life, which sometimes overshadowed the work itself. Damian has always stayed focused on craft, but he could not fully control how others interpreted his choices. The gap between his intent and public perception created an unusual dynamic in celebrity culture. Industry collaborations were influenced in subtle ways as well. Some artists and brands were interested in working with him, but hesitated because the rumor created uncertainty. Even without verification, people worry about perception. Damian's careful approach to choosing projects may have inadvertently slowed partnerships. However, this caution also strengthened relationships with collaborators who respected him for prioritizing integrity over sensationalism. Those who worked with him appreciated that he valued meaning over publicity. The impact on his image is complex. On one hand, the rumor created a shadow of mystery that drew attention and fueled interest. On the other hand, it sometimes prevented people from seeing the full scope of his achievements. Damian's private nature and selective engagement with the public meant that he controlled very little of the narrative until he chose to speak. For years, that allowed speculation to fill the vacuum, leaving a mix of admiration and curiosity in the audience. Finally, the rumor has shaped how Damian himself is viewed in retrospect. People now consider not only his music, but his deliberate silence as part of his identity. What some see as aloofness may simply be discretion. His choice to prioritize personal life and creative control over media visibility demonstrates a level of maturity rarely seen in celebrity culture. Now that he has spoken publicly at 47, fans and critics are re-evaluating both the rumor and his public image. It is a moment of clarity that reshapes decades of assumptions. Damian finally addresses it at 47. At 47, Damian decided it was time to speak. The venue was an interview on a respected music platform, and fans immediately took notice. Social media lit up with anticipation as snippets of his comments began circulating. People had waited decades for this moment. His response was measured, thoughtful, and without exaggeration. Damian did not fuel drama. He did not mock the rumor. Instead, he acknowledged the topic calmly and with clarity, addressing what needed to be said while maintaining the dignity that has always defined him. Damian explained that much of the speculation had no basis in reality. He clarified that he had never confirmed the rumor because it was never relevant to his music or his public work. Silence, he said, was never a strategy to hide something personal. It was a choice to focus on his craft and the people he loved. Damian emphasized that his life decisions were his own and that he had always prioritized authenticity over public validation. For decades, fans had tried to interpret his absence from certain interviews or events, but Damian revealed that these were simply personal or professional choices, not attempts to conceal anything. The tone of his statement reflected both patience and relief. Damian seemed ready to finally release the weight of decades of curiosity and speculation. He smiled at the absurdity of some of the assumptions, demonstrating a subtle humor that reminded everyone he is human. The audience reacted with applause and support, showing that his honesty was appreciated even if it came years after the rumor first appeared. Damian's measured response contrasted with the frenzy of speculation online, providing a clear counterpoint to decades of misinformation. Fans quickly analyzed his words, noting the difference between what had been assumed and what he actually said. Social media posts celebrated his courage to address the rumor while maintaining privacy. Music journalists highlighted the statement as a rare glimpse into a private artist's mindset. Industry professionals nodded in recognition, knowing that Damian's career had been guided by integrity and discipline, rather than publicity stunts or sensationalism. His choice to speak now felt deliberate, ensuring the narrative was corrected on his own terms. The timing of this address was significant. Damian has achieved a level of security in his career that allows him to speak freely. With decades of experience, critical acclaim, and a loyal fan base, he no longer needed to let speculation define him. This was his moment to reclaim the narrative without sacrificing the privacy he has always valued. It was a rare example of a public figure handling long-standing rumors with composure and honesty. Ultimately, Damian's address demonstrates the power of patience and perspective. By waiting until he was ready, he retained control over his story. Fans who may have doubted him were reassured. Critics were reminded that assumptions can be misleading. The interview serves as a testament to how one can navigate the pressures of fame while remaining true to oneself. Damian's statement at 47 finally puts decades of rumor into context and restores clarity for everyone who has followed his journey. The real meaning behind his response. Damian's response at 47 is more than a simple denial of rumor. It represents a larger statement about personal boundaries, artistic integrity, and the way he has chosen to navigate fame. By finally speaking, Damian emphasizes that his life and career have always been guided by intentional choices rather than public expectation. He made it clear that speculation can never replace understanding. What he said is less about the specifics of the rumor and more about reclaiming control over his own narrative. The real meaning behind his words is about empowerment. Damian demonstrates that it is possible to maintain privacy while building a successful career. Many fans assumed his silence was suspicious or evasive, but in reality, it reflected discipline and focus. By addressing the rumor on his own terms, he illustrates that honesty does not require overexposure. Damian's approach encourages both fans and fellow artists to respect boundaries and recognize that not everything requires public explanation. The decision to speak now, after decades, signals that he has reached a place of confidence where outside opinions no longer dictate his choices. Another layer of meaning comes from the way Damian framed his response. He used calmness and subtle humor to dismantle assumptions. He did not become defensive or aggressive. Instead, he reframed the conversation around truth and respect. This communicates that transparency is not about pleasing the public. It is about being clear about facts while protecting personal space. The response also reinforces his reputation as a thoughtful, intentional artist who prioritizes meaningful work over sensationalism. Fans and critics alike are forced to reconsider the assumptions they have made and recognize that silence does not equal secrecy. His statement also sheds light on how Damian has navigated his career. Many of the rumors and assumptions arose because he took time between projects, selected collaborations carefully, and avoided unnecessary media appearances. These choices, once misinterpreted, are now seen in a different light. Damian's explanation reminds everyone that the decisions of an artist are not always performative. They are often strategic, grounded in integrity, and aimed at preserving creative freedom. The rumor, while persistent, ultimately reveals more about public fascination than his actual life. Finally, Damian's response highlights the importance of timing and readiness. Speaking too early might have complicated his career or personal life. Speaking now, with decades of experience and a secure place in the music world, ensures the message is received clearly. It is a moment of liberation for both Damian and his audience. People can now appreciate the music and the man behind it without being clouded by speculation. The long-standing rumor is no longer a shadow over his career. Instead, it serves as a reminder that truth, patience, and intentional communication can eventually clarify even the most persistent misconceptions. Damian, speaking at 47, closes a chapter that fans and critics have been speculating about for years. His calm and thoughtful response shows that privacy does not mean avoidance and that an artist can remain authentic without constant public explanation. The rumor that once hovered over his career no longer defines him. Now fans can appreciate his music and his choices with a fuller understanding of who he is. Damian's story reminds us that patience and integrity matter more than speculation. Finally, his voice is heard on his own terms, reshaping his legacy and clarifying the narrative for good.